So today I want to talk to you about how you actually reach your goals, whether it's your financial goals, health goals, education goals, whatever. And you know what I'm talking about, right? I mean like sitting there, setting a goal like I want to make X amount of money, or I want to read X amount of books, or I want to exercise X minutes per day. But then for some reason at night, you're still doom scrolling on social media. You just can't bring yourself to be consistent with meeting any of your goals. And flash forward, it's 2 months in, 3 months in, 4 months in, 6 months in, 10 months in, and then you're like, I'll get to it next year. And that was me for the longest time, because I first started a YouTube channel in the year 2016. I made a few videos and I kind of just left it there. And it wasn't until last year when I was like, hey, I'm gonna take this a little bit more seriously. And I uploaded a video a week at least. And that's what got me to my first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And so today I want to talk about kind of the mental shifts and the practical tips that I took in order to fully implement making a video a week, staying consistent with your goals. And it's the same framework that I'm actually applying to pretty much everything else in life. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a perfect person, right? Like sometimes, a lot of the time, I am still there at 10 p.m. watching a Korean drama. But some progress is better than no progress. And so the first kind of mentality shift that I had to go through was quick action. Before, whenever I set a goal, I would like write the goal down and I would sit there and I'd be like, you know what, I set a goal, I feel good about myself, and I would move on to do something else. Now, whenever I set a goal, I try to make it the easiest for me to accomplish that goal, or at least to get started on that goal. So for example, I needed to upload YouTube videos because, you know, something I like to do. I like chatting with all of you like this. But recently, my wife and the baby moved back home, and that made it impossible to record at home. And so I had to figure out a solution quick. And so that's how I bought this portable mic. And so now I'm literally filming at a park, not for any other reason aside from the fact that I've got a baby at home. And when the baby's awake, he's screaming all the time. And when the baby's asleep, I don't want to wake him up. Because, you know, if you're a parent, you know, solace is when the baby is asleep. Yeah, so that's why I'm out here. And I'm like, hey, I spent $100 on this microphone. And so I'm going to do something with it. That's kind of the idea. And so whenever you set a goal, like how do you make it as easy as possible for you to get started on that goal? Maybe you want to go for a run, and the night before you're literally laying out all the clothes that, you know, you're like your gym clothes, or whatever you use to run, or your water bottle. You're getting all of that prepped so that as soon as you wake up, you get dressed and you're out the door. So just like, how do you change your environment for you to make it easy to make progress towards that goal? Okay. And so another thing that I did was, when I first started making YouTube videos, I was obsessed over like, how do I get the most views? Like, how do I hook? How do I like retain viewers? Like, how do I do more editing, add more B-roll? You know, because that's what everyone else was doing. And I thought that was kind of the way to succeed. And don't get me wrong, like there are some good principles there, but doing that really hurt my ability to take action, because all of a sudden, scripting a video would take 3 hours, filming the video would take like an hour, and then editing the video would take like 4 hours. And between a full-time job and being a husband and a father and, you know, wanting to live life, I couldn't do that. Not that I couldn't, I didn't want to. And just the idea of not wanting to do something will prevent you from doing it, because you won't be in a state of flow. Whenever you do it, you'll be just like, when am I going to be done? I want to go home. I want to get it over with. And that's really not the attitude you want to take when you're progressing towards any worthwhile goal. And so it wasn't until literally a few weeks ago when I was looking at one of my mentors' advice on content creation that he told us, that made me realize, hey, if I don't have flow in the things that I do, if I don't feel congruent in the way I'm doing it, then that really comes off as inauthentic, because I know in my mind I don't want to do it. And at the same time, one of the reasons why I'm building this YouTube channel is because, I want another source of income. Like, I'm not gonna lie about it. I love talking to people and like helping them if I can, and making videos and creating content about topics that are important to me. But at the same time, like, one of my dreams is to be able to make money doing this, like with integrity, obviously, not like some online gurus that just scam people out of their money. To that point, I've been scammed multiple times. My fault, never again, many, many years ago. But the idea is that I already work full-time. I don't hate my job, but I don't feel like it's something that I want to do for the next 30 years. It's good for me right now. I'm a teacher, and I love teaching. I love talking to students. I love helping them out. But I feel like I have a skill set that I can use to transition into something better and more impactful. I don't know if better is the right word, but just something different, something that allows me to make a larger impact on more people. And this YouTube channel is kind of a stab at that, right? And so why would I not do it in a way that I enjoy, right? Like, if I'm building this thing on the side and it's gonna take time and it's eventually gonna be full-time, why would I do it in a way where I don't enjoy doing it? And if you're on the platform long enough, you'll notice that there are multiple formats, styles, there are multiple pathways to the same outcome. Just like, hey, if you want to make $150,000 a year, there are multiple careers and paths that will get you there. If you want to lose 20 pounds, there are multiple ways and paths that will get you there. And if you're able to find a path that you resonate with, that feels like joy and fun and feels easy to you and it feels right to you, then the chances of you reaching your goals will be that much higher. Now, speaking of goals, I mean, I do have goals, right? I do have like, oh, I would like to have this by this time. But one of the things that I learned that paralyzed me from moving forward was focus on these goals, and especially if I didn't hit them, right? I remember on this journey to getting 1,000 subscribers, that was not that hard because, every day I would gain like a few subscribers. As long as you post consistently, you'll get there. What was hard was the watch hours, like the 4,000 watch hours to getting monetized. That was hard. And I remember sitting there doing the math and being like, hey, my average view duration, like on average, people watch my videos for 2 minutes, and on average, I get 50 views or 100 views, and so I need to post this many videos in order to meet my goal. And like, that gave me a lot of pressure, and it inched me, it pushed me in the direction of like, okay, how do I hook, how do I retain, how do I do crazy editing? Now that I'm monetized though, I wish I would have approached content creation in a different way. Like, I wish I would have been more authentic and leaned more into who I am as I'm making videos and content. And it applies to every single aspect of my life, right? Like, when I was doing investing math, I have a degree in accounting and finance, and I'm figuring out like my portfolio returns. I figured out, hey, I need at least 8% return on my portfolio in order for me to retire well in like the next 30 years or something like that. And whenever my portfolio was under 8%, I kind of obsessed over, okay, like, what's the latest stock that can help me get over 8%, return. And somehow that mentality didn't make me money because I was taking risks that I didn't need to take. I was making uninformed decisions and buying stocks when I shouldn't really be buying stocks because I don't know that much about the company. I haven't read all the annual reports. I can't call up the CEO and be like, hey, are you facing headwinds or tailwinds? I have to somehow, over the internet, predict the future. And that usually doesn't work out. Okay? So that is one aspect of it. And detaching, I wish I would have detached myself from the amount of views that I got and from the amount of subscribers that I gained in each video. Which now as I'm making this video, like it feels so good. Just being able to like talk to whoever is watching and just be there knowing, hey, like at least one person will get helped. And that's all that matters, right? In the same way, in my investing journey, it's been so freeing just to be like, I don't need to hit a certain return per year. I don't need to figure out the next hottest stock. I don't need to figure out the next NVIDIA, the next AI play, the next blockchain play. I just need to match the market, buy an index fund, and let it sit there, right? And there are things I can influence, but I cannot control, right? Like I can influence how many views I can. I can influence what my subscriber count is, but I can't control it ultimately, right? And I know once I've tried my best at something, then that's all that matters, okay? So we have detaching from the ultimate outcome. We have like just getting started and making it an easy environment to get started. The third thing is counting the cost. And this is something that Tony Robbins, if you know who he is, uses. He uses something called a Dickens method. And the Dickens method is a method for removing limiting beliefs, but it kind of works for you trying to reach any goal as well. And it's the idea of you counting the cost of not reaching your goals. So like if you didn't make these YouTube videos, if you didn't go for that run, if you're not handling your finances, what is it costing you? List everything out, right? Like in terms of relationships, your spiritual health, your emotional health, like what is it costing you? How is it affecting you? How is it affecting how you feel? How is it affecting your mental health? How is it affecting your standard of living? Just listing all of that and then playing it out, all right? Like if you continue down this path, 5 years later, what is it gonna look like? 10 years later, what is it gonna look like? Are things gonna get worse? And then eventually you close your eyes, and as you imagine how things play out, you'll come to a point where the costs of inaction are so high that you feel disgusted. At least that's how I felt. You know what did it for me was not making these videos, not getting my finances together. Maybe 15 years later, my parents will pass away and they will die not ever having seen their son give back to them to thank them for all that they've done in raising me. And so that's my thing. Or 10 years later, when your son or my son asks me, like, Dad, like, how come you've tried to start a business for so long and how come you still haven't given up after failing for 10 years? I just can't bring myself to answer that question. Like, I do not ever want to be in that situation. I guess that's what lights a fire under me. And you know, sometimes it takes like reality to come forward before you're able to actually take action, because in the year 2023, I got married. In 2024, my wife got pregnant with our son, and our son is now a few months, like 10 months old. now. So 2023, married, pregnancy. 2024, my son was born, and it was not until like early 2024 when I got serious about making YouTube videos and trying to create side income, because like looking at my wife, and like if any of you are married and you've been through pregnancy, or your wife has been through pregnancy, you know how tough it is. Like the amount of determination and conviction and grit it takes to have a baby grow inside you. And then that's not even the hard part. The hard part is what comes afterwards, having to take care of the baby. Like seeing that, I just felt like, you know, like it's time. I needed to do my part. And so to you, it's like how much, like what needs to happen before you finally do something, right? And a lot of the time, the things that need to happen aren't good things. Like there are things that light a fire up your butt, essentially, and forces you to take action, right? And sometimes they are good things, right? Like having a baby is such a blessing, but at the same time, like I feel pressure, not like negative pressure, but like positive pressure to move towards my future goals, to live our ideal lives, to give my family the life I believe they deserve. And so these few things, right? Like, are you able to count the costs? Are you able to create an environment for you to easily reach those goals, right? Are you not buying cookies anymore if you want to lose weight? Are you cutting up your credit cards if you don't want to get into more debt? And are you focused on the process, or are you focused on the outcomes which you cannot control, right? Because in making these YouTube videos, all I care about is that I come out, I record something, I film something, I talk about something that I care about, that hopefully someone will care about as well, and then that's it, right? That's all that I want.